South Africa is often referred to as the 30th driest country in the world, a claim that's based on its average annual rainfall of 500 millimetres compared to the world average of 860 millimetres. Well, this week, the City of Johannesburg announced that as from tomorrow, residents living in high-lying areas may experience lower than normal water pressure. This is a result of Rand Water's planned maintenance of some of its main pipelines, which is expected to last for 54 hours. The shutdown will see the installation of a valve from Lethabo to Vereeniging pumping station. Well, to discuss this further, we're joined on the line now by Professor Anthony Turton. He's the environmental advisor for water shortage in South Africa. Good afternoon, Prof, and thank you for your time on the SABC News Desk.
Good afternoon to you and the listeners.
Prof, isn't it one of the great paradoxes of human nature, if you want to call it that we rarely start to value something as crucial as water, even when it becomes very scarce, when taps run dry and the dams fall to record low levels, the value of water is truly recognized.
Yes, indeed. We all know that the water sector has been in somewhat of a distressed situation for some time. We know that infrastructure has been under severe pressure. In many cases, it's failing. I think we should be thankful of the fact that Rand Water is still a world-class entity. And while it might be inconvenient for some people for a short period of time, I think we should welcome the fact that they are, in fact, upgrading. They are, in fact, trying to do some very critical infrastructure maintenance.
Prof, is this threat of looming water shortages, is this one we should have foreseen, and could it have been averted in any way?
Look, we couldn't have averted this particular issue simply because this is an ongoing maintenance issue. But the simple fact of the matter is that South Africa ran out of its water in 2002. So since then, we've been a fundamentally water-constrained economy. And we ran out of capital in 2013, so we're both water and capital constrained. However, the good news is that the president has just made some significant announcements at the SONA that involves a thing called the PPGI, the Public-Private Growth Initiative. I've got a team working in that initiative, and what we've done is we've managed to put water front and center in that initiative. And the intention here is to attract significant amount of capital back into the water sector in order to overcome the fact that we are fundamentally water constrained.
Prof, why is it crucial that when we look for solutions to our water issues right now, we don't reduce it to knee-jerk reactions, because there usually are many factors at play here, like a lack of basic access to clean water, sanitation, wastage and water quality deterioration, aging infrastructure, and even unequal access to water.
Yes, all of the things you mentioned are ongoing issues in the water sector, which is an inherently complex place. Having said that, what you haven't mentioned is water for the economy. Water is an economic enabler. So you've spoken there about all the human-related issues, but humans can survive on a relatively small volume of water every day without even feeling any inconvenience. But it's the water to keep the economy going, water to create jobs in a sustainable way. That's the big issue. And we ran out of that water in 2002. So we have to start thinking radically differently. It's a bad news story if we continue to do things as we always have. It's a good news story if we embrace this PPGI initiative, because that's going to be about recycling, recovering water from waste, recycling water where we can for industrial processes, recovering water from salt, from either saline mine water or from the sea where appropriate. So basically it's about creating new water to overcome this fundamental constraint. If we don't do that, I'm afraid it's never going to get as good as it is at the moment.
Professor, you mentioned aging infrastructure a few minutes ago. Just how much of a role does that play in South Africa's water challenges right now?
Well, you mentioned Rand Water. So Rand Water is firstly, it's one of the oldest institutions in South Africa. It is older than South Africa is as a country. Rand Water was created immediately after the Anglo-Boer War, the purpose of which was to bring water to the mining sector. It is the largest single bulk water provider in the world. It is a massive organization. Now, some of those pipes are still literally as old as 1902, 1903 when it was started. Many of the pipes have been upgraded since then, but there's infrastructure of different ages in different parts of the system. So any upgrade, we should welcome. Any planned maintenance we must always welcome, and it's just a temporary inconvenience that we need to manage.
Which are some of the cities that are at risk of running out of water right now, Professor?
Well, there are a number of cities at risk of running out of water. Of course, we know the lessons learned from the Day Zero crisis in Cape Town. That is front and centre. Port Elizabeth, East London and Durban are also no different. They're also as close to running out of water as Cape Town was for a number of different reasons. If you look internationally, some of the major cities of the world, Sao Paulo, for example, is at risk. London is at risk. San Francisco is at risk. Los Angeles. So we're talking about a number of major cities in the world. The good news is that if you take a city like Melbourne, which is identical climatically to Cape Town, they've solved their problems by investing in substantial desalination plant and also recovery of water from sewage, from waste. So this is the direction that we have to start going in with the PPGI, is to attract world-class technology to recover water from waste, to remove salt where appropriate, because then we actually have an abundant supply of water and we can continue to grow jobs and have prosperous, sustainable economy.
Professor Anthony Turton, the Environmental Advisor for Water Shortages in South Africa, thank you for sharing your insights with us on the SABC News Desk.